Hi, it's Taz in the kitchen. Hope everyone is doing well. I wanted to share with you what I've been cooking today. I have taken Southern comfort food and I've merged it with, or fused it with French cuisine. I've been looking through my Julia Child's cookbook because I love cookbooks, and so I was like, well, I love Southern food because I'm a Southerner, and I love different cuisines from across the country. So what I've done is I have made two dishes. I have made a cassoulet, a pinto bean cassoulet. Let me see if I can pick up my skillet now. It's not so hot. A pinto bean cassoulet. My daddy's gonna be really surprised because he likes dry pinto beans, but I didn't use dry pinto beans. Then I made a cherry Clafoutis. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly, Clafoutis. Julia Childs made this, and I think she probably was the one that made it famous. But, so what I want to do is, which way should I go? I think what I'm going to do is walk you through how I put together the pinto bean cassoulet. Basically, what I did was I drained a can of bush pinto beans, and I sauteed onions, diced carrots, and celery. I sauteed those in some olive oil. You know, my olive oil of choice is always Pinto. And so I let that sweat together. In another skillet, I took my 4 chicken thighs and I patted them down, salted, peppered them. Then I put some olive oil in that skillet, and then I browned the chicken probably for about skin down, side down first, for about 6 to 8 minutes. It may have been about 10 minutes, depending upon how quickly you're cooking it, meaning the temperatures. But I kind of let it slow brown. Then I flipped that over, put some more salt and pepper on the other side, of course, and then flipped it. And then I let it brown again for about same amount of time, because it was going to be finished off in the oven. While I was doing that, I took my drained pinto beans, and then I took a teaspoon of my Better Than Bouillon, made me a cup of stock, and I then poured everything together. Hi Addie, thank you for joining me. Then I poured everything together, and then I let that simmer on the stove for maybe about 10 minutes. And during that time, what I did was I took my almond flour and I took some olive oil, and then I mixed it together and made like a crumble. Because typically you would probably put like breadcrumbs on the cassoulet, but I didn't want to do breadcrumbs. Plus the almond flour would give me a fusion of more protein. And then I think it also makes it gluten-free. So I did all of that. Then I put it in the oven and it baked for about 25 to 30 minutes. I will tell you, I don't know what this is going to taste like, but I will tell you, I'm Southern, you know, and so I added a little more stock. I can't tell you how much, probably about a half a cup, because I just wasn't sure that I was going to have enough liquid, and I may have still left it in the oven too long. But what we're going to do now is try it. Oh, I'm sorry, I left out one thing. Well, I left out several things, but it's going to be in the recipe. It's going to be the recipe I'm going to show you. I did use some Hunt's tomato paste, because the recipe calls for a tablespoon of this. I added a tablespoon of this and a bay leaf, and I let that simmer in there too. And so this is what we got. So I am going to take the smallest thigh. Yeah, I'm glad that I did add that extra stock, but you don't have to. I wanted some extra stock because I didn't want it to be dry, and hopefully it's not. So we're going to try this. I have with me a little piece of cornbread, and it's just breaking apart, so we're only going to see that little part of my cornbread because the other little part broke apart on me. So we're going to see what this tastes like, okay? Well, this is good. What I did was also, which the recipe doesn't call for this, But, you know, I was cooking and I said, well, I need to season those vegetables because I had onions, I had celery, I had carrots. So what I did also was I seasoned, and I could have taken it out maybe 5 minutes earlier, but I didn't. Next time I will. I'll let you see here. So I could have taken it out 5 minutes earlier, but my chicken's still moist some. But it's moist and chewy. So it's not dried out. It just would have been glistening more. When I checked the temperature, I think it was about 178, which chicken is done at 165. And then of course, to carry it over, it would have been fine to pull it out. Try to let you see some of these carrots. Well, I thought I was gonna let you see some of the carrots. Those are carrots, and that's an onion right there. I did the right thing by seasoning the vegetables with salt and pepper. My cornbread. This is a good dish. That's a big piece of chicken in my mouth. The thing that makes it different, well, the vegetables make it different too, but what really makes it different is the tomato paste. Because what it does is it gives my beans, I taste it. I really taste it. So it gives my beans a real tomatoey flavor at first bite. Hi, thank you for joining me. And it's my season to shine. It is your season to shine. Which of course, I'm not really accustomed to that because I grew up just eating, you know, pinto beans in their own liquid. I really didn't add anything except my seasoning. So that's a different flavor for me, but I like it. I wonder if I were going to do it again, because I will do it again. I wonder how different it would be if I used the fresh tomatoes. Hi, Coastal Jim 85. Thank you for joining me. Because, you know, I've been doing tomatoes out of my raised bed because the flavor wouldn't be as intense, but I still like it. You don't never worry, I'm going to eat all of this. So we don't have to worry about that. Now, as I say, I'm still chewing. As I said, you know, I also made the clafoutis. Clafoutis. Well, to make this, let me slide the cast iron up here. So to make this, I had fresh cherries, so I pitted them. And this recipe called for a cup of cherries. And I kept thinking about, well, I could double the recipe, but I decided not to double the recipe because I wasn't sure what this was going to taste like. So I didn't want to make too much of it. So I used 2 eggs, a cup of fresh cherries that I took the pit out of. I used 4, so hopefully I didn't get it too sweet, and I didn't taste the cherries. Shame on me. I used 4 tablespoons of my Splenda blend, but you don't have to use that much. You can use whatever it is to taste. You know, I could have tasted the cherries. I was just so busy pitting them. It was hurting my thumb because I was pitting quite a few of them that I never tasted the cherries, so I don't know what they taste like. Then I used, I didn't have whole milk because most times I don't have whole milk and I don't drink 2%, but sometimes I do, but I didn't have any. So I took some carnation milk and I used, I think it was 6 tablespoons of the carnation milk, and then I added 2 tablespoons of water so that it wouldn't be as rich or as thick, really as thick. And so I used a 1/4 cup of my almond flour. And I used some McCormick almond extract, and then I used some, I had to have imitation vanilla, so I used that also from McCormick, a pinch of salt. Let me see, what else did I use? And I used a tablespoon of butter to go around the casserole dish, and then I took some of my Splenda blend and I put that there also, okay? So that it would be sitting on that. I considered doing the cassoulet in a different dish. Then I would have done the Clafoutis in the cast iron skillet, but I decided not to. I felt that the chicken would be better having been done in the cast iron skillet with the beans, because it gives you that rustic feel. So what I did with this was I also did a swirl. So you can't really tell, but there's a swirl in there. And I took ricotta cheese, about a fourth of a cup of ricotta cheese. I took that, a tablespoon of the Splenda blend, and I think it was a fourth of a teaspoon of the vanilla. And I mixed that together. So because I used the almond flavor, what I had to do was, after I whisked the 2 eggs, the Splenda blend, a pinch of salt, the vanilla, and the almond extract, I then added my fourth of a cup of the almond flour. And then I whisked that in with the evaporated milk. Because the almond flour has such a different texture, I let the batter sit for, you're supposed to let it sit for about maybe 5 to 10 minutes. I ain't gonna tell you how long I let it sit because I was doing some other stuff, so my timing got a little off. So, but it sat for a long time. So that'll be a good test for me to see if the longer it sits, the better the texture is. And so, so I let that sit, and then while it was resting, then I had my cherries in the dish, and then I eventually poured my batter over it. I took the almond flour, I took the ricotta cheese and the Splenda and the flavoring, mixed it all together. Then I just dropped it over the dish, and then I took a toothpick and I just swirled it. And then I baked this in the oven for about 35 minutes. Hi Starlight, thank you for joining me for about 35 minutes. And then I sprinkled some powdered sugar over the top. And I did use real powdered sugar because my thought was, with the little bit of sugar that was going to be sprinkled there, it wasn't going to make a difference for me as far as consuming sugar. And then I just put a few cherries, and we're going to see what this tastes like. Oh, you see that cherry roll? Let's see what this tastes like. It's supposed to taste somewhat like a flan. I considered lots of things. I considered putting you could put a dollop of like whipped cream or creme fraiche or something like that over this. Well, my thumb tastes good. Oh, this is what it looks like. Let me put that little cherry there. That's what it looks like, okay? And I was concerned that it wasn't gonna be very high, but then I was like, I don't know if it's supposed to be that thick, so I didn't add extra anything. So let's see. Well, this is going in the cookbook. I can tell you that. I like this. I'm actually freezing fresh cherries. That's the reason my thumb was hurting. From my smoothies to this, the cherry Clafoutis. Clafoutis. It is good. It is very good. I can't believe that this is a shame. I never eat, and I know it was a small amount, guys, but I never eat the whole thing. I never do. And for those who need somewhat of a crunch, I know, well, you might can hear me. The cherries, because these were fresh cherries, they're still somewhat crunchy. And for me, as a person who really realizes that most of our foods are soft, this really helps me. Hi, Blazing Zoe, thank you for joining me. Hi, Cruiser Arita, I think it is. Thank you for joining me. But it actually is good. And since I've almost consumed it, I might as well finish it. Now, see, I'm going to talk myself into this. It's 2 eggs in here. There's almond flour, ricotta cheese. Let me see what else I got in here. I'm trying to make the healthy part of it. Ricotta cheese, and these are fresh cherries. Oh, and see how it browned under the bottom? I wanted to turn the dish up to look. So like I said, I put the butter, and it was just a tablespoon, and I let my butter get room temp so that it was I could smear it easily. And then I put my my Splenda blend on the bottom, and you see it browned it nicely. So this is a healthy dessert. Now, who would have thunk it? I'm gonna finish this. I never finish anything. I'm finishing this. So that lets you know it's good. Ricotta cheese, protein. 2 eggs, protein. Almond flour, protein. Oh, the carnation milk, protein. I'm sure the cherries probably got a little bit of protein in them, but they are natural, so that's even better. Thank you, Julia Charles. So, I have cooked for you today. I'll show you this one again. This is my cherry Clafoutis, cherry Clafoutis, and it was good. And we see I have actually eaten my slice. It was good. Then, put this here. Pick up my Cassoulet. I cooked pinto bean cassoulet, pinto beans. So this is another way we can have our pinto beans. And I had chicken thighs that I browned, and I put this wonderful dish together. It's sort of like a stew in French cuisine, if I'm not mistaken. And so I don't know if you can see that little bit there. So this is good. So I've shown you all that what I've been cooking today in the kitchen. I will be posting the recipes. Now, you know, you can always go back and listen to what I said I did. Because, you know, I be cooking for feeling. Even though I'm doing the recipe, I still cook from feeling when I am putting it together. So, like I said, the little tidbit that I did that I'm not going to put in the recipe, but I just felt that I needed to do it. I actually salted and peppered my vegetables. So that would have been the celery, the onions, and the carrots. And remember, this really is a 1-dish meal. Now, that's the reason I put it in the bowl, because you got your vegetables there also. And then again, you see, these were the, I did a almond flour crumble, and it browned it nicely. So, again, if you want to have something where you can have some Southern comfort, but you want to feel like you're dining in Paris, take my pinto beans, cassoulet, the pinto bean cassoulet. You're getting in the mood now. And then, wow, this cherry Clafoutis, the cherry Clafoutis. You see, I ate my whole slice. Y'all been following me. You don't normally eat a whole anything. The Clafoutis, it's good. I'm gonna try to save my parents some, because if not, I'll have to bake one for them. I don't know if Anjay gonna want to taste. She don't always want to eat my stuff, but this time you tell Anjay, you tell my nieces, this is good. Auntie Teresa made something that's good. It's not diet. It's not diet, but it's healthy. It's got some protein in it. So, thank you guys for joining me. Until next time, you know what to do. Before you go trying to take care of someone else, make sure you take care of yourself. And you can have some pinto beans and the cherry Clafoutis, and the pinto bean Cassoulet. And we'll be in Paris, in the deep south. I'm not deep south though, but we'll be in Paris. Bye now. Make sure you take care of you. Bye. Thanks for joining me.